My name is Jenna Blake, and this is something I've never told anyone. Not like this. People knew me as the girl who made it out. The Atlanta girl with a raspy voice, thick curls, and a sound the industry said they'd been waiting for. I got signed fresh out of college. Starline Records, big names, bigger promises. I remember walking into that penthouse office in Manhattan for the first time. Polished floors, walls full of platinum plaques, assistants, whispering behind glass doors. It felt like I'd walked into my destiny. Like everything my mama prayed for had finally come true. But what nobody tells you is how easy it is to get lost when everything looks like a dream. I used to think success was supposed to feel like light, like warmth, like home. But the deeper I got, the colder it all became. Most nights blurred together, studio sessions that started at midnight, after parties that rolled into 6 a.m. drinks I didn't ask for but drank anyway, smiles I faked while my soul felt like it was slipping out through the cracks. On Instagram, I looked like I had it all blue check. Music video drops, red carpet invites, but off camera I was tired, and not the kind of tired that sleep could fix. There was this one night I'll never forget it. We had just wrapped a listening party for my second EP. Everyone said it was a hit. Next, they called me. People were pulling me left and right, managers, execs, even artists I grew up listening to. But I didn't feel anything, just numb. After the party, I crashed at my manager Marcus's apartment in Brooklyn. He was out with someone else, so I had the place to myself. The moment my head hit the pillow, it was like my mind detached from my body. Not sleep, not dreaming. It was like I got pulled somewhere else fast. Before I even had time to ask what was happening, I was floating in space. But not space like NASA, not stars and science. It was different, heavier, alive. There were no sounds, but everything was vibrating, like I could feel sound without hearing it. Colors deeper than anything I'd seen. A kind of stillness that pressed in on me, but didn't hurt. I remember thinking, am I dead? But I could still think, still breathe, sort of. It was like I was more awake than I'd ever been. I saw Earth, but it didn't look like a globe. It looked like a massive ocean, dark and blue and pulsing, suspended in this vast blackness. Beyond it was something that looked like fire, not flames, a lake, a suspended sea of fire. And I wasn't afraid, not yet. I was more in awe than anything else. I whispered, "God, is this you?" Even though I hadn't spoken to him in months, years really. I mean, I believed in him, grew up in church, Sunday school, choir. I could still recite Bible verses if I needed to impress someone's grandma. But out here floating in what felt like the edge of forever, none of that church stuff felt like enough. It was like everything I thought I knew had been peeled away. I don't know how long I was there, seconds, hours. Time didn't exist like it does here. Then something shifted. I felt it before I saw it. A presence moving toward me. Huge, like bigger than Earth, bigger than the fire. A shadow with shape, humanish but not. Broad shoulders, no face, no features, just blackness. And the deeper he got into the light of the stars, the more I could see muscles, claws, bald head, and arms that stretched beyond sight. Something in my spirit screamed no, but I couldn't move. He didn't speak, not like a person. It was like I heard him in my bones. And what he said changed everything. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. The being kept coming closer, like gravity was pulling him and everything else into my direction. My body didn't feel like it was floating anymore. It felt suspended, caught between something I didn't understand and something I was terrified to find out. And still no words, not from him, but something passed through me. Not a voice, not a whisper, a message, like his presence was carving thoughts directly into my spirit. I wanted to scream, but my mouth wouldn't move. I tried to close my eyes, but I didn't have eyes not here. I wasn't in my body, but I could still feel. The being stopped just a short distance away, hovering in front of that lake of fire. And then it spoke, not out loud, but inside me.
You know who I am.
I froze because I did. I didn't want to, but something deep inside me recognized him. Like an ancient alarm system wired to my soul went off. I didn't know his name, but I knew his nature. And he wasn't God. I started to shake or maybe tremble, but there was no air, no ground, no walls to hold me. He moved a finger long clawed dark like ash, and suddenly the earth below me began to change. I saw flashing lights, cities, concerts, stages, my face on billboards, magazine covers, a man's arm around me, diamond rings screaming, fans, red carpets, money raining down. All of it faster than thought, like someone was flipping through a deck of fantasies one by one. And I heard it again.
If you worship me, I will give you all of this.
I didn't reply. I couldn't. Something in me was tempted, drawn even. It was everything I'd dreamed of since I was a little girl. Fame, recognition, love, control, no more struggling, no more rejection, no more silence after all the songs I'd poured myself into. Just reward. But then I saw something that made everything freeze. My mama, crying, on her knees, praying, and I heard a different voice. Not dark, not seductive. It was quiet, gentle, full of fire but not burning.
Jenna, I never left you.
The vision flickered, the fire in the distance pulsed. The being grew impatient. He raised his arms.
Worship me. I will make you the voice of a generation. I will give you the world.
My breath caught. My heart pounded, even though I didn't have a heart in this place. I could feel my own thoughts fighting each other. The glamour, the temptation, the promises. But the peace I heard in that other voice, it cut through everything.
Choose me, not because you fear him, but because you remember who you are.
That sentence broke something in me. I remembered who I was before the stage, before the brand, before I learned how to smile without meaning it. I remembered church in Atlanta. I remembered being 9 years old, hands lifted, singing off-key, but feeling like heaven was listening. I remembered reading Psalm 91 by flashlight under my covers. I remembered a God who had felt so close. Once I thought I could touch him, and suddenly I wanted that more than I wanted anything that being was offering. The darkness surged. The being leaned in furious now. I could feel heat, real physical, angry heat.
Last chance. Say yes or be cast out forever.
I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream no, but my voice was frozen. Then I felt that other presence again. Not loud, not forceful, steady, calm, unshaken.
I am with you even now.
And then I spoke, out loud. In that place where no words existed, I am a daughter of Christ. The moment I said it, everything snapped. The being screeched, not like anything human. A sound that cracked through dimensions. He cursed me, a word I won't repeat. He lifted a clawed hand like he was about to strike, but instead he vanished. Or maybe I was the one who disappeared, because suddenly I was falling, spinning backward, like I'd been unplugged from something ancient and cosmic. I crashed back into my body with a jolt so violent I screamed. My eyes flew open. I was drenched in sweat, the pillow soaked, my heart racing like I'd just run for miles. The room was dark, but the sun was just barely breaking over the buildings. My phone buzzed beside me. I didn't check it. I couldn't move. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, wondering, did that really happen? Was that a dream, or was I just shown something I wasn't supposed to see? I got out of bed slowly, like my limbs didn't belong to me. My legs shook under me. I made it to the bathroom, locked the door, sat on the floor, and called the only person I could think of, Mama. She answered immediately. I don't even remember what I said. I just broke, crying, gasping, telling her about the darkness, the fire, the being, the offer. She didn't ask questions. She just said, baby, that was spiritual, and we gon' pray right now. I put her on speaker and laid the phone on my chest, while she spoke in tongues, cried out to Jesus, and called me back home. Not just to Georgia, back to God. And in the middle of her prayer, I heard him again.
You called? I answered. Now walk with me.
And that's when I knew this wasn't just a dream. It was a warning, and I had just been given a choice. I wish I could tell you I snapped out of it, that I just prayed it away and everything got better the next day. But it didn't, because that night opened a door I didn't know I had left unlocked. And once it opened, something stepped through. For the next few days, I couldn't sleep. Not the normal kind of insomnia. I mean full-body dread. Like if I closed my eyes, something would be waiting. The room didn't feel like mine anymore. Even with the lights on, the shadows felt too deep, too alive. I started to notice things. Flickers of movement out the corner of my eye, goosebumps that came out of nowhere, cold spots in warm rooms. But worse than that was the feeling like something was watching me, waiting. My best friend Lila thought I was just overwhelmed. You're probably having a spiritual detox, she said, half joking. Maybe lay off the wine and TikTok profits for a bit. But I knew better, because something had touched me in that place, and I had touched something back. I went back to Marcus's apartment a few days later to grab my charger. He wasn't there, and I didn't plan to stay long, just in and out. But the moment I stepped inside, it hit me, that same pressure, the same pull I felt in the dream. Like gravity had shifted, the air felt thick, the lights flickered once, and then silence. I stood in the living room staring at the hallway mirror. My reflection stared back, but I swear it blinked before I did. I turned to leave, and that's when it happened. The walls began to bend, literally, not melting, not crumbling, bending, like they were made of breath. And in the middle of that distortion, he appeared, same as before. Tall, vast, empty, not a hallucination, not a dream. It was him, standing in the center of Marcus's living room like it was his domain. The ceiling didn't matter. He filled the space beyond it. Like reality was bending around him just to make room. I couldn't speak. My knees buckled. I hit the floor not from choice, but because whatever power he carried made it impossible to stand. He stepped closer. Each step was soundless, but thunder pounded in my chest. I wanted to call on Jesus. I tried, but my mouth wouldn't open. My lungs wouldn't move. and then I heard it again.
I told you I could make you everything.
His form pulsed shadow on fire. The room rippled like water beneath him.
I can give you the crown. The world will bow. The men, the women, the stage, all yours.
He reached out a hand, those claws like obsidian blades. And in the center of his palm was my face, projected, singing, crowds worshiping, headlines glowing. It looked perfect, but it felt hollow. And then something shifted again. Behind him in the distorted air, I saw flashes. Not visions, realities. Alternate versions of me. In one, I was on tour, face drawn, eyes dead. In another, I was in a bathtub, empty pill bottle on the edge. In another, screaming into a phone alone, money piled but heart bankrupt. He turned, letting me see them all.
This is the price, but you will be known. They will love you until they don't.
My spirit broke, not in fear, but in grief. I didn't want it anymore. The fame. I didn't want to be worshipped. I wanted to be whole. And then I felt it like a warm rush through my bones. A presence behind me, soft, still, holy. And it whispered not into my ears, but into my soul.
I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, of a sound mind.
That voice washed over me like rain in a desert. I turned to it. I didn't see a figure. I didn't need to. The light was enough. The love was real. And the moment I looked away from the being, he screamed. It wasn't sound, it was rage, manifest. He lunged, but the light swallowed him before he reached me. I collapsed again, but not from fear, from release, from surrender. I laid there on Marcus's floor, sobbing without tears. Breath shallow but soul steady. I had seen the enemy, felt his breath, heard his offers, and chosen to walk away. But I knew now, it wasn't over, because once you reject darkness, darkness doesn't just give up, it retaliates. You'd think after facing something like that, the hard part would be over. But it wasn't. It had just begun. The very next day, I got a call from Kevin, my label rep at Starline. He sounded way too calm for someone who hadn't heard from me in a week. "Hey, superstar," he said like nothing had changed. "We need to talk next steps. The EP's tracking better than expected, so we're ready to go full push. Tour offers, late night slots, Spotify billboards, all of it." My stomach turned. A week ago, I would have screamed from excitement. But now, that voice in the back of my soul kept saying, "Not your path anymore." Still, I said, "Okay, sure, let's talk." I didn't know how to say what I needed to say. Didn't know how to explain that I had just met a cosmic being who offered me the world, and I said no. That I saw visions of my own destruction with a smile painted over it. So instead, I stayed silent. But Kevin didn't. "You know," he said casually, "I always believed in you, even when others didn't. But I gotta say, there's something bigger happening around you. The way your name's buzzing, it's like a wave. All you gotta do is ride it. Don't overthink. Just trust the process." His words sounded exactly like that being. Smooth, enticing, true sounding, but empty. Then he paused. "You still want it, right?" he asked. "The spotlight, the power, the crown." I froze, because part of me did. Part of me still craved the applause, the validation, the feeling that I mattered. But the other part, it remembered the vision, the broken future, the loneliness behind the fame. So I said the only thing I could. "I don't know." Silence. Then he chuckled. "That's okay," he said. "Just don't take too long to figure it out. There's a window on this stuff." Click, he hung up. I sat in my kitchen, staring at the wall, wondering what kind of window he meant. The next few days, the pressure grew. Emails piled up, brand offers, collab deals, feature requests. Everyone suddenly believed in me. People who ignored my calls 6 months ago now wanted to fly me to LA, New York, London. And then the strangest thing happened. Marcus, my manager, called me, not to check on me, not to ask if I was okay, but to tell me something someone at a private industry dinner had said to him. She needs to stop playing church and start playing the game, they said. If she really wants to make it, she knows what to do. I didn't ask who said it. I already knew. It didn't come from them. It came from him. The same presence, the same whisper, repackaged in real people's voices. That's how it works, right? The devil doesn't always show up with horns and red skin. Sometimes he shows up with contracts, with promises, with smiles that feel like salvation. That night, I got down on the floor again. No music, no phone, no distractions, just me and God. And I cried like I hadn't cried since I was a child. I said, "Lord, I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I did. But I don't. If this path is not from you, take it, burn it. I'll walk away. Just don't leave me. Don't let me go." And then I heard him, soft, steady, loving.
"I never left. You just stopped listening."
I broke, bent over myself, gasping, undone.
"You do not need to chase what I never promised. You were made for more than a stage. You were made to carry light in a dark place."
I whispered, "But what do I do?"
"Say no."
2 words, but they cost everything. Because saying no didn't just mean canceling a few meetings. It meant losing people, losing income, losing status. It meant being called crazy. It meant being misunderstood, but I did it anyway. The next morning, I sent an email to the label, told them I was stepping back indefinitely. Didn't give a timeline, didn't offer a neat excuse. I just said I needed to obey what God was asking of me. Kevin replied within minutes, "Are you sure?" I didn't answer because I wasn't sure, but I was obedient. There's a difference. And that night, when I was tempted to question everything, when my bank account balance stared me down and fear tried to sneak in, he spoke again.
"Obedience opens doors fear cannot."
And for the first time in a long time, I slept. No voices, no shadows, no pressure, just peace, real peace, the kind that doesn't depend on streams or charts or likes. And I knew the world had offered me a crown. But Jesus was offering me a cross, and only one of them leads to life. I thought the world would crash when I said no, but it didn't. It just got quiet. Like when a storm passes and all that's left is the sound of your own breath. I didn't lose everything in a day. It happened in layers. First, the meeting stopped, then the calls slowed down. Eventually, the silence became the answer. But I had peace, unexplainable peace. And in that peace, something new was born, conviction. I wasn't just walking away from something. I was walking towards someone. I started waking up early, not for emails, not for rehearsals, but to pray, to just sit still, to listen. Sometimes I didn't even have words, just tears, just whispers, just groans I couldn't explain. But he heard it all.
"I see you, I hear you, I am with you."
One morning, maybe a week after the final, I opened my Bible for the first time in years. I didn't know where to start. so I just asked Lord, show me something. I flipped open to Luke, chapter 9, verse 23. If anyone wants to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. I read it again, and then I just said it out loud. I want to follow you. Not just admire, not just believe in theory. I wanted to belong. I wanted to obey. I wanted to know him. And it hit me. I had spent most of my life performing for people. But now I was choosing to live for a person. The one who created me. The one who rescued me. The one who whispered through fire and shadow and still called me daughter. That same week, I told my mom everything. The visions, the temptation, the choice. She cried on the phone for 10 minutes straight. Not from fear, from joy. You're coming home, she said. You finally heard him. And she was right. I did hear him, still do. Not with my ears, with my soul. And every time fear tries to creep back in, every time the enemy tries to whisper, you gave it all up, I remind myself, no, I gained everything because I gained Jesus. I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know if I'll ever be back on a stage. But I know whose I am, and that's more than I ever had before. So now I say it boldly, not in secret, not under my breath, not ashamed. I belong to Christ. I am his, forever. The funny thing about peace is once you really have it, it makes everything fake feel louder. Lila noticed first. She came into my room one night holding her phone in one hand, a glass of wine in the other. Are you okay? She asked. You've been different. I smiled. I'm better than okay. She narrowed her eyes. You're not depressed or something, right? I mean, no offense, but it kind of feels like a breakdown. I laughed softly. It's not a breakdown. It's a breakthrough. She didn't get it. And that's okay. I didn't expect everyone to understand. I barely understood it myself. But I knew something was shifting inside me, around me. Things that used to excite me felt empty now. Music I used to love made my chest feel heavy. People I once admired suddenly seemed like hollow shells. Even my old lyrics, I couldn't sing them anymore without cringing. It wasn't judgment, it was grief. Grief for how blind I'd been, grief for what I almost gave myself to. The temptation hadn't disappeared, it just got sneakier. People still called, some acted concerned. Jenna, are you in a cult? Some were sarcastic, so Jesus told you to ghost your career. Some just offered money, come back, we'll rebrand you, make it about faith, gospel pop. You can still have the platform and the purpose. But I'd already been offered that kind of deal by someone far darker. So I said no, again and again and again, until the noise quieted. But silence doesn't mean safety, because in that silence something else crept in, doubt. I started wondering, did I really hear from God? Was that dream just a panic attack? Did I ruin my life over something I imagined? The rent was still due. My savings were shrinking. My name wasn't trending anymore. The friends got fewer. The invites stopped. And the loneliness, it came in waves. Some nights I'd lie on the floor of my bedroom, just staring at the ceiling, whispering, was this really you, God? Or did I just throw everything away? And then I'd hear it, soft, strong, unmistakable.
I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. I did not rescue you to abandon you.
And just like that, the anxiety would lift. Not disappear, but lift. enough for me to breathe again. One night I was walking through Prospect Park, headphones in worship music, low hoodie up. Just me and God under the trees. I saw a girl crying on a bench, teenager maybe. Hoodie pulled low, makeup smeared, hands shaking. Normally I would have kept walking, but this time something in me said sit, so I did. Didn't say anything at first, just sat. After a few minutes, she looked up. "You good?" I nodded. "You?" She shook her head, laughed through her nose. "No, not even a little bit." Then she told me everything about her stepdad, her mom's silence, the pills, the shame, the thoughts. "I almost didn't make it through last night," she said, eyes glassy. And I told her my story, all of it, not in some polished, churchy way, just raw, the darkness, the vision, the offer, the rescue. Her eyes widened. "You believe in God?" I said. "I don't just believe in Him, I know Him." And for the first time in years, I watched someone encounter hope in real time. She started crying harder, and then she asked something I'll never forget. Would He want someone like me? And I didn't hesitate.
Yes, He leaves the 99 to find the one. He wanted you before you even knew Him. He knows everything and still chose you.
She covered her mouth like that truth physically hit her. And in that moment, I realized this was it. This is why I was called out of the spotlight, not to hide, but to shine in the places nobody sees. To sit beside crying girls on benches, to whisper freedom into hopeless places, to remind people who feel forgotten that heaven has never forgotten them. Since then, I've had more moments like that. Random conversations that turn into divine appointments. Strangers who say, "There's something different about you." There is. I carry light now, not because I earned it, but because grace filled me where fame failed me. And the more I walk with Him, the more I realize I didn't lose my purpose. I found it. It just didn't look like what I expected. It didn't come with cameras. It came with tears. It came with humility. It came with fire that burned away everything fake. So yeah, I'm not where I thought I'd be, but I'm exactly where He wants me, and that's more than enough. It wasn't long after that night in the park that I knew I couldn't stay in New York. Not because I hated it, but because everything in me said go. I didn't have a plan, didn't have a job lined up, didn't have a place waiting. But I had a word, and that was enough. I packed 2 suitcases, gave away half my closet, told Lila I loved her, and boarded a one-way flight to Los Angeles. Why LA, I didn't know yet. All I knew was that when I prayed, I heard it clear.
Move. I will meet you there.
I had no apartment, no car, no roadmap, just obedience. And $1,402 in my account. I landed, rented a room through a friend of a friend, and started over. Completely. It was humbling, going from being driven in black cars with people opening doors for you, to sharing a kitchen with 4 strangers and buying groceries at the Dollar Mart. But I'd never felt more free. Nobody here knew who I was. No one cared about my follower count. All they saw was a girl with a journal and a Bible walking everywhere with headphones and quiet eyes. And that's exactly who I wanted to be. Every morning I walked to a little church on Sunset. Not fancy, not famous, just faithful. The first Sunday I stepped inside, the pastor stopped mid-sermon, looked right at me, and said, "You were brought here to be reset. What the enemy tried to build on your back, God's going to use as a platform for His glory. He didn't know me, but God did. After service, I stayed behind and talked to a woman named Elena. Older, soft-spoken, the kind of kindness you feel before she even smiles. She invited me to join their outreach ministry. Nothing crazy, she said. We just go out to Skid Row twice a week, feed people, pray with them, listen. So I did, and everything changed. Not overnight, but deeply. I'd stand on sidewalks handing out sandwiches while people poured out their stories. Addicts, runaways, survivors, souls everyone else had stepped over, but not God. He loved them, and I could feel it. Sometimes I'd sit in the dirt and just cry with them. Not preach, not fix, just cry. And sometimes in the middle of those tears, I'd hear him.
This is where I dwell, not in the heights of...
One day we met a girl who couldn't have been older than 16. No shoes, no ID, just a bruised face and a broken whisper. She looked at me like she didn't believe I was real. "You're too clean to care," she said. I told her I wasn't always clean. Told her I almost sold my soul for lights and likes. Told her I met darkness and walked away. Told her Jesus found me and I've never been the same. She blinked slow. Why would he care about someone like me? And without thinking, I said, because he cared about someone like me. We prayed right there, on a sidewalk full of trash and tears and cigarette smoke. And in that moment, heaven felt closer than any stadium I'd ever stood in. I started journaling all of it, the encounters, the voices, the changes. I didn't post them at first, didn't want clout, didn't want clicks, just needed to remember. But one day, I shared one entry as a voice note on a tiny new YouTube channel. No intro, no branding, just truth. It got 1 views, but one comment wrecked me. It said I was about to kill myself tonight. Then I heard you say, "You didn't lose your purpose, you found it. I'm still here, thank you." That's when I knew. This was the platform, not the one built by labels, the one built by light, by fire, by obedience, the kind of platform that doesn't crumble under fame because it's rooted in faith. And now, every week, I share what God gives me. Sometimes it's testimonies, sometimes it's truth that cuts, sometimes it's just a prayer whispered into a mic at 2 a.m., but it's real, and people feel it, not because I'm anyone special, but because I surrendered, because I stopped chasing crowns and started carrying the cross, because I gave up everything the world said was worth having, to receive the one thing that never fades, His presence, His voice, His love.
I didn't call you to be popular. I called you to be pure.
And now I walk that out, not perfectly, but faithfully, because I finally understand. This life, it's not about being known. It's about making Him known. And if all I ever do from this point on is point one soul toward Him, then it was all worth it. If you've made it this far, I need you to hear me. This isn't just my story, it's yours too. You don't have to be a singer. You don't have to have met demons in a vision. All you need is a moment. One moment where everything in you says, I can't live like this anymore. If you're tired, if you're numb, if you're smiling on the outside and dying on the inside, there is a way out. His name is Jesus, and He's not mad at you. He's not disappointed. He's not waiting to punish you.
He's waiting to heal you, to restore you, to walk with you into a life that actually means something.
You don't have to figure it all out tonight. You just have to say, God, I don't know what to do, but I want you. That's it. That's where it starts. And if you need someone to walk with you, I'm here. This channel isn't about building a brand. It's about building the kingdom. So if something in this story pulled on your heart, don't ignore it. Hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and tell me what spoke to you. Or just type, "I want Jesus," and I'll pray with you, right here, right now. You are not alone. Let's walk this out together.